I'm Kathy Klotz, Executive Director of Intermountain Therapy Animals and Reading Education Assistance Dogs, the R.E.A.D program. R.E.A.D was born in November of 1999 when we first brought therapy dogs into the Salt Lake City Library to be reading companions for children. We knew we were onto something great, but we really had no idea what a journey it would be and how the program would capture the hearts and minds of children and adults worldwide. The R.E.A.D program is respected and endorsed by educators, librarians, parents, and kids everywhere. It has literally spread around the world, reaching thousands of children throughout the United States, into Canada, the United Kingdom, Europe, and as far away as South Africa and Slovenia. Our continuing efforts to introduce children to the joys of reading and books help to lay the foundation for a lifetime. Succeeding at reading is vital to children's eventual success at school, on the job, in socioeconomic achievement, and even to their health. We've learned a lot over the years, and we're always eager to learn more and share it. So we're pleased to bring you this series of videos designed to help handlers in their ongoing quest for succeeding at reading. In this video, we hear from Theresa McKinney, a R.E.A.D handler and staff member at Rio Rancho Public Schools in Rio Rancho, New Mexico, where R.E.A.D programs are system-wide. She shows how they track the effectiveness of their program by documenting both reading scores and direct observations.
For a lot of people, this will conjure up all kinds of ugly symbols, pie charts and lines and graphs and things that overwhelm a lot of people and are intimidating if you don't know what you're looking for and if you don't know why data is important. It's necessary. Okay, there's reasons why. Why do I want to see all these numbers? Why do I want to see all these charts? I know the program works. For those of us in the R.E.A.D program that are active R.E.A.D, that are active therapy teams, we do know that the program works. We don't need to see numbers. We don't need to see charts. We can see the smiles. We can see everything right there in person. We don't need the numbers. But when your data is necessary for those new members who are attempting to introduce a R.E.A.D program into their local school district, library, this data is what's going to get your foot in the door and is what's going to validate your claims of the benefits to your children and your students. The data is what the superintendent, school board, principal, teacher, parents want to see in order to support and have buy-in for the program you're proposing. If you can't show them it works in numbers and in facts, then they're not going to have any idea what you're talking about, and you're not going to have that support. So collection and formatting of such data into a presentable document doesn't need to be a daunting task. First, we need to know there's two different kinds of data. There's qualitative and quantitative. And a R.E.A.D program in a school setting offers us the opportunity to collect both qualitative and quantitative data. We'll address the qualitative data first. Details with descriptions. This data can be observed and not measured. Colors, text, smells, taste. This is our observations. This is what we see when we're sitting on that blanket working with with our student and our dog. This is the data that is observed by you, the teacher, the parent, the school administrator, the counselor. Observations are not numeric and cannot be definitively measured. However, qualitative data is just as important as quantitative data, in some cases more so. This is the data that details the benefits of the R.E.A.D program for the whole child. This is where we can see and record the smiles. We can see and record the excitement to open a new book. It's that finger that starts to twirl in the dog's fur when they're starting a new book and a new chapter in their life. That's qualitative data. Some examples. The first two are from teachers' observations. Two of the students who read with the dog has significant needs. Their faces light up when it's their turn to read to the dog. They were so proud and happy to work with the dog in the library. It really boosts their self-esteem to be able to read with the dog, and the other students told them how proud they were to be able to have that opportunity. Confidence levels in reading went up. They were excited to pick their new books to read to the dog, It was a highly motivating program. Next to are parent observations, parent comments, and I'll get into the forms that we use and send home so that you can get this kind of a response. My son really enjoyed reading with the dogs. It could be a number of things, and this is important because READ is not the only thing that causes an increase in reading. It could be a number of things, but his reading skills have definitely increased, and so has his confidence and joy of reading. He loved reading to the dog. I think this is a great program. Anything that encourages children to love learning is a great idea. My daughter's dyslexic. She does not like to read because she feels embarrassed. However, she loves dogs. So it's exciting when she gets to read to them. She loves it. It is the only time that she will read out loud willingly. I am grateful for this program because my daughter needs this reading experience. The last one is from a student. It made me happy and I became a better reader. I also liked reading to other people. So it opened up a new world for that student too. So this is all qualitative data, observations that you can record in a report. Collection of qualitative data can be as simple as a conversation in the hallway with a teacher or a staff member. You don't have to send out forms. You don't have to send out documentation. It can be real simple just having a conversation. Maybe a parent stops by the classroom and you're able to speak with them about their observations at home or in the classroom. You can also format a simple form to document your findings to be compiled into report later. This is what we came up with as a teacher survey form. I send this out towards the end of the year so that I get this back before the school year is over. Teachers can fill it out. Classroom, I don't know what you call your assistants in your district, educational assistants, EAs. Other staff, maybe a counselor. Would you rate your experience, and this is our program with a Tales of Joy READ team this year, as positive? Yes or no? And if not, I want to know why. Why didn't it work for you as the teacher? Do you intend on requesting a Tales of Joy READ team next year? Yes or no again, and if no, why? The only no's that have come back in the 6.5 years is I'm retiring, so I'm not going to be here. Otherwise, every teacher has wanted a team back. What are the changes in student reading levels that you were able to observe, qualitative, and document, quantitative? What changes did you observe in your students' eagerness to start a new reading activity as a result of the program? Were you able to see any positive benefits in your students' behavior, social skills, communication skills, overall well-being? And would you consider Tales of Joy READ program a viable literacy intervention? That's important. From the teacher's side, did this work? Is it worth it? Is it something that you're going to want again? And did you get the results you thought? Parent comment form, real simple. This is all electronic. Send it to the teacher, print them up, give it to the parent. If they want to fill it out, that's great. If not, that's no big deal either. But if they have, most parents, if they've seen a result, if they've seen something positive in their child, they want to express that. They want to share that. They want to say, yes, I saw some really good things. Real easy. Your child has participated 20 to 30 minutes. I will put together a report for the superintendent and to the school board. So if you've seen any changes, if you've got any comments, positive and negative, go ahead and send them back to me. Same thing with the student. Very simple form. You've worked with a READ team, dog and owner, because sometimes they don't understand what a team is. They know it's their dog. And give their input. Sometimes the kiddos can't write because they're younger, and the teachers will go ahead and document for them. Other times the students do write, and it's really interesting when they do to see what they've come up with. So those are just forms that you can utilize in order to collect your qualitative data. So now we'll go to the quantitative data. This is the icky stuff with numbers and the graphs and the reading test scores, the stuff that intimidates everybody. Quantitative data is your measurable data. You can have reading test scores, possibly the number of sight words recognized beginning of the year and at the end, comprehension and fluency. The administration of tests and collection of this measurable data is the responsibility of the classroom teacher, school literacy specialist, or other school personnel. You as the READ team don't have access to testing instruments. It's not your responsibility, and you are not qualified to test a child one-on-one with a computer instrument, you don't have the tools or the means to do so. All schools will do minimum beginning and end of year. Most school districts, most schools require, most states require their schools to do quarterly testing. A teacher has to see, in addition to you as the R.E.A.D team, but the teacher has to see is what are they teaching and is it effective? Is a child learning? So that's what you're going to piggyback on. They have to test their kiddos. There's no way to tell that what they're doing in that classroom is working without testing. So you're just having and borrowing that information from them in as far as reading is concerned. However, it can be requested and included in your annual report. The numbers are what will show the benefits of the R.E.A.D program within schools as a viable reading intervention practice. So the qualitative was your observations. This is what's going to say the program works. This is what we've done, this is where this child started, and this is where they ended, and this is why it works. If you want to get into another school, if you want to share your data, there's been several programs that are started based on our data. I'll share that with anybody. Take what we have, print it up, bring it to your school district, bring it to your library. We've got a wonderful library program too. Bring it anywhere you want and present it. This is what's going to get your foot in the door. This is what validates this program works. The feel-good part is awesome, but the numbers are what the schools want to see. Nationwide, the focus in education, and we touched on this the other day, is that students reading at grade level by the end of 3rd grade. It sounds like it's not a big deal, but if that child is not reading at grade level by the end of 3rd grade, more than likely you've lost them forever, depending upon what the severity and how low they are. Educators at all levels need to be open and supportive of programs that get results, and R.E.A.D is one such program. So now your brain is going, oh my gosh, I've got questions. How do I get the data? Where do I get the data? When does the data get collected? So we're going to address a few of these questions. Do I test the students? No. That's not your responsibility as the R.E.A.D team. That is the responsibility of the classroom teacher or another school personnel. You don't do that. Where do I get this information from? The teachers you work with will have all that information. All expectations, forms, and documents should be presented at the beginning of your program. There are reading test score forms. You can show that, and this will come up as well. Your school agreement, your permission slips, your parent comment forms, your teacher survey forms. So all of these are presented right at the beginning, so the school, the teacher, the principal knows, okay, I've got some responsibility and I've got some accountability here too. It's not just going to be send the child off, they're going to sit and read, and I have nothing to do with it. They're going to have to record and they're going to have some input here. So what can I do to ensure that my school program is set up to collect the appropriate information? Communication is key. When beginning a program within your school district, you want the buy-in from your school administration, teachers, superintendent, and the school board if necessary. If you have to approach a superintendent, if you have to approach a school board, you want the numbers, you want the facts, you want the data to make it a valid presentation. What is appropriate information? You want beginning, at least you want beginning and end of year. You want a starting point, you want an ending point. If you can get from the teacher mid-year, then that shows growth all the way along. What you want to do is show growth. How do I know I'm getting valid information? You've got to rely on the teacher. You've got to rely and trust that what they're giving you is valid. That reflects on them too, so it will be. This is important because it can get personal and you can't let it. Will the information always show growth? What do I do if no growth or a decline in results is shown? You may very well receive test scores that show no growth or decline. Talk to your teacher. See if there were extenuating circumstances on the day of testing. Was the child absent for several days beforehand? Were there home situations that may have had an effect? Above all, do not take any stagnant or declining test results as a personal reflection of the time that you and your dog spend with that student. The quantitative data collection of test results is the culmination of all learning that each child is exposed to in and out of the classroom. You and your dog are a very small part of a student's education, and in every way, the time you spend each week with that student is always positive. You're going to see results increase, you may see them stay stagnant, you may see them decline. That child's education is encompassed by a lot of things, and we're a baby part of it. It's the teacher, it's the home, it's the pullout of other classes that they have. It's everything that encompasses that kiddo in and out of a classroom. That's part of their education. The READ team and the work that we do with each child is very minimal. Everything you do is positive. So even if your quantitative data stays stagnant or drops, all kinds of things can cause that. But every time you are with that student, that environment is always positive, always. You know as soon as that child lays or sits down next to that dog, it's a positive thing. It's a positive effect. So the qualitative data, in some ways, is almost more important than the quantitative data. How do I know I have enough information to report on? Any data that you receive from your teacher will be enough. At the minimum, you want a beginning year and end of year. But anything you get is going to be enough. You're going to have qualitative data just in conversations or sending out any kind of information or forms for parents and teachers. This is an example of a reading test score form. Student, grade, language, if they've got a first language other than English. Test date, beginning, middle, end of year. Your testing instrument. In our district, we'll use what's a DRA, which is Developmental Reading Assessment. We also use an NWEA, a MAP, which is Measured Academic Progress, and that's computer. So whatever your school district or individual school uses, that's fine. You don't have any say of that, and it doesn't matter as long as there is documentation. Teachers have the option of putting any kind of comment in the end. So now you've been given all this data and all this stuff, and what do you do with it? One very, very important point to make at this time is that you cannot use any student names in your reports of any kind. I refer to, and you'll see in all the reports, student ABC, student 1, 2, 3. There can be no identifying factor in any of those reports. It's confidentiality. You have to stress that again when you, in our school agreement, it states that there will be no student names used. Someone had asked too about a photo consent form. I have a specific photo consent form for Tales of Joy, and it states in there web use, so that I can use photographs for that purpose only. So in addition, I don't mention any handler or dog names in my documentation. This ensures that all reported results are equal and that no team is any better than another team. The only comments that include a handler and a dog's name are those from our staff, our Rio Rancho Public Schools staff, as they utilize their dog in their work capacity. You can compile all your data in varying ways. It can be a simple outline form with bullets, retyping the qualitative comments in a text document. You can do a table of reading scores, graph of the reading scores, or you can combine anything. Keep it short, sweet, simple. Some people are visual, some people are literal. They want to read as opposed to seeing the graphs, so it just depends. This is an example of how I'll put one of them in graph form for those that are visual. Instead of seeing 4, 10, and 18 across a line, it's much easier a lot of times for people to see a visual, to see the growth right away without even looking at numbers. You can tell each one of these kiddos grew at different rates, but they all went in the right direction. Also, take a look at the R.E.A.D website, Intermountain Therapy Animals site. Go to the R.E.A.D and see all the documentation there. Call, email me, contact R.E.A.D programs to share ideas, information, how their data is used, and where it's displayed. Whether you're compiling a comprehensive annual data report or just documenting on the good things that has been observed in your R.E.A.D program, the end result is the same. You are taking part in and sharing the love of your R.E.A.D program with others. The wonderful benefits and life-altering effects you and your special dog have on a child's life. Questions?
Whatever the testing method is that's used in the school or school system is defined or spelled out. I mean, there's different tests that different schools use, and sometimes they all know them and they refer to them by, acronyms and stuff, but to make sure that somewhere in your report you define which tests are being used.
On the R.E.A.D test score document, there is a column that asks for the testing instrument.
Okay.
And if you don't understand, everything in a school is an acronym, everything, okay? And there's no way even working in a district that you can understand or know what all the acronyms are. So ask. You know, my big thing is communication. No matter what the issues are, no matter what's going on, talk to your teacher. If you don't understand, then ask. If they're going to say, oh yeah, we only test this and this and this, and it's a computerized test, we'll ask, what does that entail? What do you mean computerized? Is it reading? What is it measuring? You want reading test results, not math with a reading content in the end. So talk. Communication has to be part of it all. But ask what the reading instrument is and ask what it specifically tests for.
Are the teachers agreeable to giving this? Do you seek permission? How did you get the information physically?
That went way back at the beginning of your school agreements, where you sit down with your principal, with your teacher, whoever you meet with your literacy specialist, and say, this is the program I want to start in your school. They've said, yes, let's do it. But we're also, as part of this program, it's not just a feel-good. It's not a fluffy. It's not a, oh, dogs in a school. It has valid validation. There is backing behind it. Then you can also bring in, this is the training. This is R.E.A.D. This has been around since 1999. It's not something that just popped out of the ear. There is documentation, research, and things that have built into and have come along with R.E.A.D. in that change every year, and they just document more and more of the benefits of dogs in a reading program. So part of your presentation initially is, I'm going to do this for you with my dog, and this is our responsibility, and on the other side, this is your responsibility as the school. I'm going to need to see this data with no student names, with none of that, for the confidentiality, but this is going to validate our program. It goes back to the National R.E.A.D. organization. We want to present it. We want to keep growing in the right direction, so we need that documentation. And most, just like parents will want to respond on a parent comment form, most teachers are going to want to do that too. They're thinking out of the box. They're like, oh my gosh, this has worked, or I've had Johnny, who I've done everything with, and this is a program that's worked. So they're going to want to spout that too. They're going to want to show that off as well. They want the R.E.A.D. program but not interested in collecting data for you?
Right.
Then just do a qualitative report. You know, our teachers are so overwhelmed. Yeah. So if you give them everything, they've got to test anyways. There is no way any school grade level teacher does not test their students on, like I said, minimum quarterly basis. They have to. They have to see if what they're doing is working. So most times if you give them the tools, hey, look, this is just the form. I send everything electronic. They don't have to print it. Fill it in. The teacher survey is in Excel. So expand the box and just document it and shoot it back to me in an email. So they have the data. They have to. It's just a matter of you requesting it. If they don't, then obviously it's not something that you're going to ruin that relationship on. Then you've got the means to just collect your qualitative data. Talk to your teams. Talk to people that are in your, talk to the librarian. If that's where your program is set up, they listen, they hear, they see what's going on, they've got input.
Thanks for watching. We hope you'll check out the other videos in our Succeeding at Reading series. If you have questions, we're happy to help. Please contact us at any time. From all of us at Intermountain Therapy Animals, thank you for your time and dedication to becoming an ever more skilled R.E.A.D. team.
Special thanks to Pia and Jimmy Zankel and the Laura J. Niles Foundation, whose generous support of R.E.A.D. makes this series possible.